Welcome back to the Just Hyke Podcast. Today's conversation is all about confidence, awareness, and trusting yourself on the trail and in everyday life. My guest is Tisha Butler, a self-defense instructor who brings calm, practical, and empowering approach to personal safety. This isn't about fear or intimidation. It's about awareness, mindset, and preparation. Let's jump in. Hey there, here's a quick note before we begin. You can support the podcast by downloading, sharing, or checking with my favorite hiking gear at justhyke.com. Let's hit the trail. Tisha is joining us today, and she is a safety and self-defense instructor with a long history in martial arts. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your role in martial arts and being a self-defense instructor?
Okay, well, I have 4 kids, and when they were younger, I needed an activity that I could put them all in at the same place because there was only one of me. My husband traveled a lot, and going to 4 different places for 4 different activities was too much. So I enrolled them in martial arts at All Star Martial Arts in Cyprus, and I joined a fitness class there because I figured, I might as well do something when they are. And then a couple of months after I joined, they had a free women's self-defense class that I signed up for. And during the class on the break, I'm out in the parking lot and I'm calling my husband. I'm signing up for Krav Maga. When is it? How much is it? I don't know, but I need to do it. I'm signing up. So I joined Krav, and then shortly after that, I joined Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and then Taekwondo. I fell in love with martial arts, and all 4 of my kids are black belts. I'm a black belt. I have a black belt both in Krav and in Taekwondo. And martial arts is it's the way our family lives. It's become an integral part of our family, and we love it.
That's so awesome. I heard a saying a while ago, families who kick together stick together.
Definitely. It also helps, that you get to kick each other, get to take that frustration out.
Yeah. Well, with control, right?
Yes.
Always with control. So let's talk a little bit about the self-defense aspect of martial arts. What's some of your experiences with that and with teaching?
Well, for me as a woman and having 3 daughters, self-defense has always been a passion of mine. I had 3 young daughters that became 3 teenagers that are now 3 young women. And you can't help in the world we live in today to worry. So learning how to defend myself and teach them how to defend themselves was very important to me. And I got certified to teach women self-defense probably close to 15 years ago now.
Right.
Shortly after I got certified, I was teaching some self-defense seminars. On the last one of the day, after a long day of teaching, I had only 2 ladies show up. And when you're prepared to teach for a large group and you're very new at teaching, that gets intimidating. You're having to change your game plan. And during the very beginning, one of the ladies triggered. She had been through something horrible the weekend before. So I spent the next hour walking with her through what she had gone through and empowering her, teaching her what she could do so that she could feel safe again. And I knew then that this is what I was meant to do, that I was meant to teach self-defense, that there is a need for it, that there is nothing better than giving someone the confidence and empowering them to know that they can be safe.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit. You brought up the word triggers, right? And that's such a big topic because I don't know if everybody understands what a trigger is. So let's dive into that a little bit. How would you describe a trigger? And, how do you help someone work through that so that they can feel safe again? I imagine just listening to what their experience was is a big part of it. But what is a trigger? Let's go into that.
1 in 5 women has experienced rape, and that's a horrible statistic, but it's our reality.
Mm-hmm.
And, it goes beyond. There is also domestic violence, there's mental aspects. But when a woman has been through trauma, anyone, when they've been through trauma and they're confronted with a scenario that reminds them of that, it triggers them. It brings them back to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way that the attacker continues to have power over you. You do get afraid. You do get scared. You do live in that moment. And so, what I do with the women is we go back there and we go into what could have been done? What could I have done so that you don't feel helpless anymore? So that you feel like if I'm ever confronted with this again, there is something I can do.
Good. What you're talking about, it reminds me of, there's a book out there, you've probably read it or heard about it. It's The Gift of Fear from Gavin de Becker. Have you read that one?
Yes,
Oh
yes, I have.
gosh,
Love it. It is a self-defense Bible. It is amazing.
absolutely. Yeah, I think it's such a fantastic book, and it's all about being aware, right? So
Yes,
awareness and trusting your gut. Like so often we're told, well, just ignore that. Why are you feeling that way? Just ignore that. Or, being polite just for the sake of being polite. But if your gut is telling you to tell that person, no, I don't want your help, then you should listen to that. And I've had ladies on at a trailhead and they've told me, you know what? Said I got out of my car and I went in maybe like 10 minutes down the trail and my instincts just told me I need to turn around and go back. And it's like, you know what? Good for you. If your instincts are telling you that you need to turn around and go back, then turn around and go back. Like your instincts are there for a
absolutely.
reason, right? And I've also had women, so speaking of triggers earlier, I've had women they'll sit at a trailhead and they'll be crying at the trailhead because they're just so afraid to get out of their car and go into, let's call it the unknown, right? If you've never been on that
Mhm.
trail and if you're unfamiliar, it's like stepping into the unknown. And it could be past traumas that are holding them back from possibly having an enjoyable experience. So I think it goes both ways.
And, us having to live in fear, not
Mhm.
going on a walk, not going on a hike,
Yeah,
that's not a way to live.
agreed.
You need to be able to enjoy your life, to get out and do things and not live in fear. And some basic knowledge can give you that power. Most of self-defense isn't about the cool ninja moves. I do love to teach cool ninja moves and I love to do cool ninja moves. But most of self-defense is not about that. It's about situational awareness. It's about knowing how to keep yourself out of a situation where you'd ever have to use the self-defense.
Absolutely. I was watching a television show last night and I was thinking about safety and self-defense while I was watching it. And this one lady, she was getting the bleep kicked out of her, right? By this bigger guy. And it's like, okay, so when you're talking about self-defense, we're not talking about going head on with the big guy. We're talking about creating space so that you can get away, so that you can avoid getting the bleep kicked out of you by a big guy,
Absolutely. Yeah,
right?
self-defense is about learning to identify which situations are safe and which are not, and keep yourself out of those situations. Something as simple as being aware when you come back to your car that something looks off and that you need to call and ask for help can keep you from being shoved into someone else's car. Something as simple as knowing techniques that attackers use to separate you and gain your confidence will keep you safe, is honestly what self defense is. And then, if the worst happens, knowing those cool ninja moves that buy you 10 to
Right.
20 seconds to get away, to get to
Exactly.
help.
Yes, exactly right. Very nice. And we'll be learning some of those cool ninja moves at our self-defense seminar that we're going to be
Yes.
holding. It is on January the 17th. It's a Saturday morning. Details are on my website and they're on our both of our social media pages. So I'm sure people will be able to find it if they just start Googling and searching for us. But if anybody really wants the information, they can send me an email at info@justhike.com and I'll get back to you or reach out to me on any of the social media channels and I'll send you a link to sign up for that. This is our first self-defense seminar we're doing together. Planning to do more in the future, not just one a year, but maybe, 3 or 4 a year. I think once a quarter would be good at least. And I think this will be a lot of fun for us to dive into. And what do you enjoy doing outside of training and teaching?
I am all about family. I love my kids. I love my grandkids. Grandkids are the best thing. If I could have skipped children and got straight to them, I think I would have.
Doesn't work
But
like that.
I love to do things with them, go to the pool. I'm big about outdoors. I love to travel, walk my dogs, go for runs, just experience life.
Nice. Do you ever go hiking? Do you like to hike?
I do. My husband and I travel at least once a year. So we like to get out and really see. So whether we're in Costa Rica or Australia or Alaska, we like to get out in nature.
So you understand some of us girls out on the hiking trail and the trailheads and some of the concerns
Yes.
that we could have, especially if you're going solo. So many people want to go solo, it seems. I like hiking in small groups, not necessarily big, huge groups, but I think small groups, there's a safety factor there. I do want to acknowledge there's a lot of women who do travel solo and they may or may not have a choice in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're always safer in numbers. That just is true. You will be safer in a group.
Yeah.
And it's because
Statistically, yep.
yeah, it's because the attacker they don't want to get caught.
Right.
So they are looking for easy targets, not hard targets. And if you're in a group,
Hmm.
then they've got to worry about everybody there, not just one person. So you are safer if you're in a group. But to be honest, sometimes I go for a run by myself,
Hmm.
because it's time to exercise and I want to go for a run.
Yeah.
But I do run like on the waterway somewhere populated. I don't run at night by myself. I don't have both headphones in. I have, one out so that I can be aware of what's going on around me. So even if you're by yourself, there are things you can do that will make you a harder target.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Just not being aware of your surroundings. Like you said, if you have both those earbuds in and you're not paying attention to who's coming up behind you, that makes you a target.
Yeah.
You just don't know who everybody is anymore. I think there was a time, 30 years ago, you knew who was the creep to stay away from. But now I think there's just a few too many creeps out there and you just need to be aware of your surroundings and
Well, and
just
with
pay attention.
rise of the internet
Yes.
and social media, it has created an environment where it is easier for these attackers, these people that don't have the best intentions, to operate. And it just is. They can stalk you more easily because, we all live our lives on social media. It creates opportunities that make you more vulnerable. But with some knowledge, you can mitigate that. We fear the big bad boogeyman,
Yes.
the serial killer, serial rapist that just is out there hunting people. And that is very uncommon. Statistically, it's more likely someone a family member, a friend, someone in your church, someone that's come to your house and done work. It's someone that has interacted with your life.
And I suppose that brings us back to the social media. So they could have interacted in your life in some way, including through those social media channels.
Yes. And one
And
of the things
yeah.
we will be discussing at our self defense seminar is the tactics that they use that gets you to drop your guard, it gets you to trust them, and makes you vulnerable. And so once you learn what those tactics are, it's easier to spot the people that mean you harm.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. I'm looking forward to being at our seminar because you know way more than me. What do you wish more women understood about strength and self-defense?
The main thing I wish women understood is that they're worth it. I think that we are conditioned as women to be in a little box, a small little box where we don't fight back, to where we don't have opinions. And a lot of women, when we're talking about self defense and domestic violence, don't realize that they're worth standing up for, they're worth fighting for. And a lot of women, when they're confronted with violence, they shut down and freeze. And that is normal. That is our natural reaction. And I feel like we feel that that will always be true. But with muscle memory, you can get past that initial reaction and you can fight. It doesn't mean that you're going to fight the 6'5" big guy and win. It means that you're going to create a window where you can get help.
So why is awareness such a crucial part of personal safety, especially outdoors and on the trails?
Because, like I said, fighting the 6'5" guy, even I or even many women, that's not going to happen to where you're going head to head with someone and you're going to land an amazing blow and knock them out. I know TV likes to portray stuff like that, but that's not reality. But reality is you can learn how to not let yourself be in a situation where you'd ever have to confront that. And situational awareness is your main tool in self defense, staying out of situations where you would ever have to use it. And yes, we are going to cover what happens if you do get in a situation. And there is a lot of things. There's leverage, there's maneuvering. It doesn't take big muscles to escape a wrist grab from someone 5 times your size. Simply knowing how to leverage your body and where their weak points are. But never having to get to the point where you have to get out of a wrist grab is far preferred to having to know the cool ninja move.
Well, I want to know both.
Absolutely.
I want to
And
know.
the cool ninja moves are fun.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. I like the movement. So I'm attracted to martial arts and really gymnastics also, just because of the movement. I like the flow. I like those cool ninja moves, I guess.
and it's a fun way to work out,
It is.
self-defense,
Yeah,
but it's also a great way to move your body and get active.
absolutely. Very nice. So, how can women begin building confidence before they ever need to use any physical skills? What are some tips for some ladies out there to build
Um,
confidence?
if we're talking about the physical aspect, the cool ninja moves, the striking, the blocking, the techniques, for them to be effective, they need to be muscle memory. And muscle memory means you've repeated the movement so many times that your body just reacts. So, to gain that confidence, after you do our self defense seminar, don't just go home and think, I'm good. I've got it. I did this one self defense seminar. No, go home, get your dad, get your husband, get your brother to practice with you and start developing that muscle memory. And that will give you the confidence to know that if anything ever happens, your body is going to just react.
That's a great idea. I think we could find, or I think we could develop like a mini fitness workout,
Yes.
based on those muscle memory movements. I bet you we could do that. Yeah.
I actually have several that
Oh,
I've way
yeah.
to get your heart rate up, but you are practicing those blocks, those strikes, those movements.
Oh, that's so good. We need to talk more about
Good.
that. All righty. Why isn't self-defense about size or strength?
Because, like I have, most of self defense is about situational awareness. It's about avoiding those situations where you'd have to use it. It's about having the knowledge to identify when someone's trying to hurt you or trying to isolate you or trying to get you to drop your guard. And it's also about the leverage, the surprise. So you don't need 30, you're not going to go 5 minute rounds and win the fight.
Right.
You're going to create 10, 20 seconds and get to safety.
Hmm.
That can be done with surprise. That can be done with knowing where to strike. That can be done with knowing how to escape.
Perfect. How do you feel about, let's talk a little bit about self-defense tools. Like I know, so whenever, especially here being in Texas, because, there's always the concealed carry or, the people who like to carry guns. For being a hiker, and so for someone who likes to go lightweight with hiking, and it's not always, you're not carrying a weapon like that is not necessarily feasible when you're going out of state or even out of the country. So for myself personally, I feel it's not very practical for me to carry a
No.
gun or to learn how to use it, just because that's not where my interest lies. And I'm not going to practice all the time. I'm not going to go to the shooting range all the time. And kudos to those who do go to the shooting range all the time. That's great. You can sit beside me at church. But I've heard statistically, like if you don't practice with a handgun all the time, it's more likely that it'll get used against you if you're.
Absolutely. Women feel like they go get their concealed carry and they're safe, or they have some mace in their purse and they're safe.
Mhm.
The reality is, if you don't practice with that weapon regularly,
Mhm.
and by regularly, I mean you're at the shooting range multiple times a week,
Yeah.
and you're not prepared to pull it and shoot to kill, that the weapon will most likely be used on you. There are absolutely women out there, they're amazing with guns, and
Mhm.
that are able to conceal carry and use it as a weapon. And it is an amazing self-defense avenue for those that are serious about it and comfortable with it. Most maces, there are some that are different, but most maces aerosol
Mm-hmm.
when you spray them. And so what happens is now you're maced along with your attacker. And if they have been maced before or several times, and if you're
Mm-hmm.
not their first victim, they probably have, they're more immune to it. They're more prepared for what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Mace is not one of my favorite self defense weapons because of
Mm-hmm.
that fact. I usually carry a knife. That's what I'm comfortable with. I'm stick and knife fighting certified. To me, it's you stick the pointy end into something soft and squishy. So it's a little bit easier than a gun for me personally. I am a big proponent of improvised weapons. Improvised weapons means you find a sharp object and you stick that sharp object into something soft and squishy. You find a rock, a piece of glass, or like your tool that you developed for hiking,
Yeah. Yeah. The
you've
trail mate.
got
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
got something on you that helps create that space, that helps
Yes.
create that distance, helps buy you that 10 seconds so that you can get to safety, you can call for help.
Absolutely. That's what it's developed for, right? Is to help you create that space so that you can get away. And it's a tool that you're going to carry because you need it for leave no trace. So a win-win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Hiking sticks could also be an improvised
Yeah.
weapon, right? Quite often I'll take my hiking stick and I'll fold it in half. And then now I have a nice, probably 3-foot club that I can use if
And
I need to.
this first self-defense seminar we're doing, we're going to cover the basics. This is your basic self-defense seminar that we're going to go through situational awareness, basic abduction escapes. But as you and I have talked about, we're going to, as we do different ones, we're going to have different focuses. And one of them will be improvised weapons, where we
Nice.
look at what you've got around you and on you when you're hiking and how to use them for your self-defense.
That. Let's move on a little bit. How have you seen self-defense training impact women beyond physical safety?
Confidence, and
Yeah.
there is every time I teach one of these self-defense seminars, and I have done this a lot, taught hundreds of women, and I promise I can see it every time and every person there is a moment where they realize that they've got power, that they are not going to be a victim, that there is something they can do, and their whole demeanor changes. In that instant, they stand taller, they project confidence. And it's why I love doing this, seeing that moment of transformation.
What do you think would be the most benefit from attending the class on the 17th?
Situational awareness. Like I said, the cool ninja moves, we are going to have a lot of fun with those. And it will blow your mind how simple it is to get out of a wrist grab, to get out of someone coming up and grabbing you from behind. It really is simple. But the main thing that you're going to get out of it is a situational awareness, is learning how to be aware, learning how you can train that muscle, because we all have to train our muscles. If you want to be able to lift heavier, you have to lift weights. If you want to have better situational awareness, you have to train your situational awareness muscle. And we're going to learn how to do that. And we're also going to learn how to identify the techniques that attackers use to isolate you and get you to drop your guard.
That's important. What would you say to someone who feels nervous or unsure about attending a self-defense class?
I was the person that was a nerd in school and was not physically active, did not grow up roughhousing and fighting, and I stepped on those mats for the first time, and I loved it. I teach from a place of I meet you where you're at. Wherever you are, whatever your age, I have taught 3-year-olds and I've taught 90-year-olds. So wherever you're at, I'm going to meet you where you're at, and we're going to figure out how to make you feel more confident. When I was doing Krav, I was the only girl in the class,
Mhm.
and we were learning gun disarms. And I couldn't get this one gun disarm down. Like, I did it over and over again. It just was not working for me. And the instructor and I finally figured out it's because I had boobs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, my hand placement was different because my body was different. And so then we had to backtrack and figure out how to make it work for me. And that moment it's influenced how I teach. We're all different. It's not a one size fits all.
Well, thank you for being in that class and figuring that out. You're probably one of the pioneers in the Krav Maga world in our area, so that's great. What is one simple habit that listeners can start practicing today to improve awareness and confidence?
Put your phone down
Oh,
and
yeah.
go somewhere and look. Everybody is absorbed in their phones at all times. And when you are scrolling or you're catching up on your text or your emails as you're walking through the mall or through the parking lot or, on the trail, you are not going to be aware of what's going on around you. So, the single first thing you can do that's going to improve your safety is put your phone down when you're out. Don't get in your car and immediately pull your phone out to check your emails and check your messages.
Right.
Get in your car, start your car, drive a couple of blocks, and then pull over.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good advice. Absolutely. I've gotten into the habit if I do have to check my phone when I get into my car, I'll just lock my door right away. Like I'll get
Yes.
in my car, I'll start it, I'll lock my door, and then I'll check my phone. Is kind of the habit I've created, especially if I'm at a mall or even at like a busy trailhead, kind of what I do. Yep.
And being aware once you get in your car that nobody's following you
Right.
as you drive off or to your
Yes.
car. When you're absorbed in your phone, you're not noticing those little details.
That's right. Yeah, good point. You said that you teach people from the age of 3 years old all the way up to 80 years old. Now,
Yes,
for our self-defense seminar that we're holding, the intention is for women.
it
So,
is.
what age would you kind of not recommend? Like below 16 or below
I would say
18?
below 16,
Okay,
14 to 16,
would
we
be
are
the
going to go.
youngest.
Yes, because we will be discussing some of the brutal aspects of what happens and how to be prepared for it. I do teach parent and child safety, but that is a different class where the
Yeah.
focus is on how a child would fight back, how a child would avoid abduction, which is different than how a woman would.
Right, right. So yeah, I agree. I think youngest age would be probably 16, maybe
Yeah.
14 if depending on the situation, right? And depending on the kid.
Yes.
Okay. And the intention is primarily women at this class. It's a women's
Yes.
self-defense class. Okay. So what do you hope women will take away from this conversation? Like if they weren't able to go to the self-defense class on the 17th, what's one message that you would want to pass along or would want a woman to hear in regards to self-defense?
Pay attention, be
Mhm.
aware, you're worth it. You are worth the extra couple of minutes it takes to look around you and be aware of who's around you. You are worth the extra couple of minutes it takes to lock your doors, to pause and think, what was that person's intention when they were talking to me? You're worth the time.
Absolutely. And I want to add in there, I would want women to trust your gut, right?
Yeah.
If your gut is telling you that something's wrong or something's off, then it's probably right. It's telling you that for a reason. And I highly recommend Gavin de Becker's book, The Gift of Fear. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes. It's just such an impactful book. I've read it a few times.
Yeah.
So there's stories in there that are just so well said, and they're not meant to cause fear, but they're meant to educate people on the awareness and, those things that your gut tells you and those instincts that help us stay safe in this world.
Time I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw so many times that I myself was falling prey to stuff. And it's eye opening.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. All right, very good. Thank you, Tisha. Anything else you want to add today?
We are going to have a lot of fun. I know I talk a lot about situational awareness because it is so important, but I promise we are going to learn a lot of fun ninja moves.
Everybody likes the cool ninja moves. Definitely. All right, very good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, and we will see you in the new year. Before we wrap up, I want to thank Tisha for sharing her insight today. Conversations like this remind us that confidence doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from awareness, preparation, and trusting yourself. Take what resonated with you from today's episode and let it support you in your everyday life. Wherever you are on your journey, keep showing up for yourself, one step at a time. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you out on the trail.